welcome. I'm very happy to take some questions straight away if there was something particular you wanted to ask. Otherwise, I'm quite happy to talk through some of the slides that I've got here first of all, so you can just have a look at some of the things. You can put your thumbs up or not, whether you were there on Thursday at my presentation on Thursday or not, or if this is separate to that. You weren't at my presentation on Thursday, fine. Amelia, I don't know if you can hear me and can just say if you've been here or not on Thursday. Okay, well, so what I'll do then is I'll go through this part of it and then I'll take any questions. So on Thursday I talked very much about what the school was like, and obviously people were able to look around the new building and see some of the subjects that were going on as well. One of the key things I think about the school is where we've moved it to and where we're moving it to at the moment. Many people will know the Warwick School as was, and for good and bad reasons, and many people have had family members that have come through the Warwick School, but there were things we needed to do to improve, and we really recognised that after our last Ofsted. So we have set ourselves new values, new ideas that we want to make sure that the students are being able to access, a new curriculum so that they've got a range of new subjects. And we've taken the 3 values of aspire, innovate and respect to really start that conversation, if you want, with the students. And these sort of paragraphs, if you want, about each of those, good afternoon, Jamie, welcome, are there. The students have helped us to create these. So it's something that we are beginning to embed. And I don't think they're any different to what any parent or carer would want for their child when they put them into education. Basically, we want them to be the very best people they can be. We want them to get the exams and the grades that they need to go on to college or to university or to careers of their choice. And in order to do that, we do have to be a bit clever and creative about how we deliver our lessons and our subjects, because there's always something that the students don't particularly enjoy and have to do, or do really love and want to do more of. And equally, as it says there, we want them to grow up to be great citizens and have an understanding of both their local community and the wider community around them. So they're the reason that we've set those values over the last year or so, since we knew we were going to be moving and since we decided with the governors that we were going to change our name. Now, when we had our last Ofsted, that was back in 2019, whilst it seems a long time ago, we are obviously now waiting on a revisit. We would welcome a revisit because we need them to look at the work that we've been doing, and if you want, evidence it and be able to say, yes, we've moved in the right direction. We've had several monitoring visits by external people in the sort of past 2 years around COVID, and they've indicated that we are moving in the right direction and that the things that we've been putting in place and the offer has been much better, more consistently so. And that word comes up on this slide about the consistency. Also, one of the things came about was challenge, and we've really looked at that through our curriculum and the curriculum offer that we put to the students. For example, our students in year 10 and 11 doing GCSEs can now opt for a 10th GCSE if they want to, and our offer at the moment, and it's likely to change before your children get there, is astronomy, psychology and economics. So they're high-level qualifications, something that people will have a significant interest in. We've done astronomy because of the Carrington name, and we'd really like to be able to carry that on as well and develop that further. Within our school, just to give you a little bit of a structure, there's myself as the head teacher, and then as you can see, there's a number of people that sit on the senior leadership team, 2 deputies and 3 assistant heads and a school business manager. And then I have 5 senior leaders who look after the core subjects of maths, English and science. We have one that does the timetable, and our Director of Inclusion, Mr. Sorensen, who is also our Senko. And the reason he is there, that's a new post actually, is because we want to be able to make sure that all students can access the curriculum and have the right support that they need. And I think it's never been more important following the amount of time students have spent at home. And it's not just about putting a teaching assistant in the room, it's about looking at our own pedagogy, how we teach the students, how we find out where those gaps are. So Mr. Sorensen's role is to help us to do that. We go by the saying actually that it only takes that one teacher who can really infuse a student, and so our aim and one of our priorities is that we all get to know the students very, very well, build up those really positive relationships, have those very positive relationships with yourself as well, so that we can work with them at all stages of their 5 years that they're with us. And we've built our curriculum around this as well. So this talks about what we want the students to achieve. We are working for them to get, you know, the grades that they want to do, have high academic success. We've been doing audit reviews over the past couple of weeks, and that conversation has come about of students, even our top students, getting better grades than they've got before, and in our languages, trying to improve so more people take up a language over the next couple of years. And it's possible that by the time your children get through to doing GCSEs, they will have to study a language. And so the conversation around that is, what languages do we want to offer? Not just French and Spanish, but alternatives, to try and give the variety and the choice depending on the cohort. We want to give different experiences, not just in school. So again, we were talking about trips starting again. We have a couple of trips already set for next year to the Ardèche in the south of France for year 8s and 9s. We have a year 7 residential. We want to do some day trips to some of the nearer European countries, and really start to get the students back involved. We've already had a couple of trips up to town this term to look at some of the shows that are going on, things that they've not been able to do for the last couple of years, but give them that real cultural capital and wider opportunities to get that experience that they might not get on a day-to-day. So it's really about building up our curriculum within school and slightly around the wider school as well. We also work with our local businesses, and we have Juicens that offer work experience and actually come in and do some work on our own building. We support Love Works in Merstham, the food bank, and do regular collections for those. We work very closely with the local police and businesses, and we're trying to build links with Talis and other local, well, not quite so local businesses as well, in terms of sponsoring. And we're currently trying to set up a foundation for the students so that we can get more input, higher levels of money, if you want, I suppose, in some ways, into the school. And we've already had a very kind donation, I think, of 20 MacBooks that a local company has given us, which we'll be able to use in our media, and hopefully develop that iCreative IT work that the students enjoy. So we're always on the lookout to work with people to build links so that we can help the students that we've got in our school. In terms of teaching and learning, that's one of the things that you'll be interested in, wanting to make sure that your students, your children, get the right education and the good quality of learning. We do have classes of between 28 and 30. Our PAN is 210, so that in effect is 7 tutor groups per year group. What we try to do, though, is where it's 210, we will make 8 groups for the core subjects so that they will go down to about 24 in size. And if we can't do that in 7, 8, because sometimes our staffing doesn't allow it, we definitely try to do that as they get to 9, 10 and 11. We set the students after half term of this half term just coming up, and we just take off the top groups. We have 2 or 3 fast track groups where your top 60 or 90 students will go in, and the rest are mixed ability groups, so that a young person doesn't become the bottom of something and stay the bottom throughout their time with us. And we also find that way they all work at a much higher level. So we do have some sort of routines and must-dos. We have 45-minute lessons, and it's really important that every minute of that lesson is taken up with learning. So as students arrive at the lesson, there'll be something for them to do. We call that our do it now, and they're expected to get on with that and know what they can do in terms of getting their books out, getting ready, maybe have an activity, so that they're not wasting any time. We want to also give them a big picture. You can't actually see that on the top of that slide. So they know what it is that they're aiming for at the end of a series of lessons, at the end of the half term or the term. It might be building something, might be writing an essay, but they have an idea of what their purpose is and can hopefully talk to us about that as well. Then we make sure that there's a variety of activities. It might be across a series of lessons, because in 45 minutes you don't get time to do too many activities in one go. We do double up lessons where there's a practical that needs to be taught, or if it's for PE or DT and science, so they get 90 minutes there. We're doing a lot of work at the moment about this reflection and improvement, being able to identify the misconceptions. That means work needs to be marked regularly. Teachers need to be looking at books, talking to students, so that they can identify where those gaps are, where things aren't maybe clicking as quickly, and then doing something about it. So we talk about this up leveling of work, and actually you'll probably find your children are quite used to that from primary school, because it is something some of the primary schools have been doing a lot on as well. We call it dedicated improvement and reflection time, and as you look through a young person's book, you should be able to, after a number of weeks, see the areas where they've highlighted and they might be doing a bit more just on that particular piece in order to support future learning. And then we try to have these challenge tasks ready and available for the students, so that if they've got through that work or their understanding is great, we can not give them just extra, but actually deepen the learning that they're doing, asking them to think about the questions they would ask, to get into discussions, to talk to people. We do like the students to be active some of the time, not just sitting writing, and definitely not copying on too many occasions. However, there are times when it's the right thing to do, so we don't say you can't at any stage. So I've sort of talked about that in here, and then I've talked about the reflect and improve. We take that very seriously, and they're some of the activities that you might get to think about very quickly. Have they read it through? Have they corrected their own mistakes? Has their partner checked their work? Is it of a good standard? If a teacher has written them a question or asked them to do something, have they gone back and do it? So there's certain sort of one-liners, making sure they've got the dates and titles and presentation right. There's other things that will really help them to develop that piece of work, i.e. can you redraft or reword a section or all of it? And then these are the sort of ad astra, the extra bits that we might get a student to do if we find that they're learning quicker than others, or they've just got a good understanding of it as well. In terms of our feedback and marking, we really, again, try to make sure that pieces of work are marked in line with the end piece of work. So if they've done a draft, that needs to be marked before they have chance to do the final piece. If they're doing a project, it needs to be checked regularly so the student knows that the end result is going to be as good as it can be. So where we talk about having a positive impact on the progress of students. So you may find, particularly in subjects that are more practical, that there isn't lots of things ticked in books, but they've conversation as the member of staff has walked around and talked about a product that they're working on and looked at ways of improving it. In other subjects such as history or English, where there's more writing, actually seeing where they might have made mistakes in the language and the grammar, or they've used a thesaurus and up-leveled some of the words that they're using, and you should begin to see that on a regular basis. We want to address the misconceptions. We don't pick up on every spelling mistake, because if a child has a piece of work and it's scattered, we just try to pick out the key words so they don't feel too under pressure. It's particularly for young people who may find spelling very difficult. We provide them with keyword lists where we can. And we use that then to help us move those lessons forward. aside from the academic part of the school, we have our Developmental and Inclusive Centre of Excellence called DICE, really, and it's where all of our pastoral aspects come out of. And in there, learning is still the centre, but obviously we also know that if a student's not feeling great, and if they're misbehaving, if there are challenges to that learning environment, then they're not going to be in the right place to learn. So we try to combine the three things together with a real focus on how is that impacting your learning. We have referral systems in our school that anybody can use, because obviously we're quite a large school. We have about 65 teaching staff and a further 30 or so support staff, in 200 students in each year group. Sometimes children do get missed in the first instance, but a teacher may well have noticed that they're not feeling great, and it's up to them to then refer. And we do have regular discussions around each of the classes, all of the students, to try and make sure that we don't miss students and we can really pick up and focus on what they're doing and why something might not be working. And as it says there, the main aim is to improve the learning experience for all students. Some children go through school and they don't have a problem, but others, you know, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, may experience grief or illness along the way, and we need to be there to help them through that and give them strategies to cope. So we also try to be a little bit creative and innovative, because we can look at just this picture and see every child is slightly different. They will all get there at the end of the day, but their journey and their pathway might be very different to their neighbour and somebody else. So that's really part of our ethos, is about respecting all of the students' differences and their needs, and then working together to get them to the place that they want to go. We get them to be aspirational and to have dreams and ideas about what they'd like to do, where they'd like to go in later life, where they might want to study, what subjects they might be interested in. And we throw as much at them as we can to give them that experience. We do have sometimes I'll sort of have to talk to students about the way that they're behaving, and we have a D credit system, and it talks about a little bit of it there. And we also have a credit system, which generally goes around food. I've noticed when I was looking at this, hot chocolates on a Friday, pizzas on a termly time. We give early lunch passes, certificates, and we really write home quite a lot to our parents and to the students to let them know when they've done good work. And I have a head teacher's tea when students are nominated once a term to come and have high tea with me, still more food, and to share their work with me. So we really do want the students to value the credit system. We have rewards, and actually my senior prefect team at the moment are looking at the kinds of rewards that students value and they want to see, so that we can keep it meaningful for them and helping them to get engaged. So that's really the kind of feeling that we are. In my slides on Thursday, I did talk about a little bit about the subjects, and I'll just mention here, because I haven't got that slide open, but we do teach all the subjects from maths, English, science. In languages, they will learn French in one of the years, year 7 or year 8, and Spanish in the other year 7 or year 8 class. And then at the moment, the idea is that they would choose their preferred language in year 9. And if they want to do both, we would put on a lesson 8, so an extra study group for those who want to do 2 languages, with a view that then they might take one of those languages at GCSE. We do PE, DT, which combines of food technology, textiles, graphics and product. And then they do music, drama and art once a week as well. So they get, and then the humanities, so English, history, geography and RS. So they get the broad range of those subjects. We also have the excellence curriculum. Now the excellence curriculum runs once a fortnight, and students can choose the activity that they do once a term. So they have a little booklet which will outline all the topics that's going to be put on for them. They choose the one they want. And they range from ultimate frisbee to chess to Scrabble to dance club to I've got a theatre group that come in. We've got ballroom dance, Lego challenges. So it's not a curriculum subject. It's really what my staff can teach and what their passions and interests are. And we allow the students just to have that downtime to experience something different or to develop their talents a little bit further. So that's kind of an overview of some of the aspects which I felt people might not have picked up on Thursday. I'm very, very happy to take any questions from anybody, particularly if you weren't there Thursday, if you want to know anything else about the school. Please feel free to put your cameras on if you wish to, and take yourselves off mute, and I'm happy to take any questions. No? Everyone's okay. Fine. Well, if no one has any questions, then I won't necessarily keep you hanging around. I'm sure you have dinners and things to get back to. If anyone would like to see the school, we're quite booked this week, but I appreciate that it's difficult. You've got deadlines to meet. We are around next week if somebody makes a call, although we're on half term, because we have a 2-week half term, then please feel free to give a call, and if we can fit you in, I'm happy to pop down even if I'm not in school for the day, and to give you a tour if you haven't had a chance to see the school before you have to make any decisions. Just give us a contact on the school number or via the website. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, everybody. It's really nice that you joined in, and as I say, get in touch if you need anything further. Thank you.